buildings become only alive when there is a dream. There is that hidden aspiration. There is that longing. And that longing, for something which we are searching. This drama can only happen when you have a drawing and you have this dream and you are trying to create that dream through your design. And your hand is moving and you are visualizing these spaces. And then you feel the sunlight coming. You feel shivered, you feel something. And that says, push the column there, and then you would place the column there. Are we really talking about a dialogue between that space and our child and our livelihood and our dreams? That's why the architecture doesn't become alive.
I thought that I would write a script for this video, but I thought it won't make sense if I write a script and tell you what I feel about this particular topic. So there is no script, so it's just raw thoughts and some random collection of thoughts. Architect like P. Doshi and Louis Kahn, when they used to describe architecture, it was more of like a poem. Like there is philosophy involved, there is talks about beauties and everything is involved. And you can also see in their architecture too. It's like I say, design is a kind of energy transformation, right? So it's about that energy, what energy you are putting out in the environment. And this little pauses when you appreciate beauties and all, which counts. I guess people don't see now architecture is kind of very commercialized and all. Really, people used to put depth while they were designing, but now it's like just do some repetitive task and all and make architecture. One of the nice comment I had on our channel was that you don't make architecture every Monday morning. It's not like that you came and you design and that's all. It's like it's a process. It's a process when you discover yourself through design. That's what also Frank Gehry told, that when there is a canvas and when architect or painter comes and when he draws the line, he is revealing himself. Talk about Louis Kahn. Louis Kahn used to say spirit of architecture. That person talked about silence, volume 0 and things like that. The person was filled with philosophy. And philosophy literally means love of wisdom. It's not, and if you don't like, then I don't know what to say to you. And I guess the poetic nature is getting lost. Louis Kahn famously said that joy will prevail anything. It's like if you are not finding joy, then that thing doesn't make sense. Some question just stucks with you. Like Doshi asked this question that we are also creating heritage while we are doing it, right? So what is this heritage looks like, right? And what we are transferring to the generation which is coming. And I was like, damn, I never thought like that. When we are creating things, we are actually creating the history. And we don't usually think time in that way, that what about this, like what are the effects we are, the energy we are providing to the generations. Even you listen to these people and read their books, they feel like they are witnessing everything for the first time or what. And it's a very childlike state, like you are always in awe of the things which are happening around. Like we get so busy that we don't take a pause and appreciate the beauties which are, surrounding everywhere. We think that we'll walk till this stage and then after that there is retirement, and that retirement is our pause. But that doesn't make sense. Like you are living every day, then you should take pause every day, like seeing the things around. And it's like how you can appreciate or create something when you haven't noticed or observed how it affects you and how it affects the surrounding. And about that childlike state, in our field, we don't have colleges of engineering and this and that. We have schools of design, like school of architecture, school of planning and all. And it's there for reason, like we write ABCD and like there is this thing that you are, learning everything from zero. When we are in the college, we are very enthusiastic about the things we are learning. Like we are literally starting from zero, like a childlike state. But when we are just gradually passing out, and then we have become the adult, and that adult is deteriorated kid, nothing else. And in our field, sometimes people just design so they can impress their peers, but they don't think about the users. And it's very interesting that they'll use very fancy words, and that doesn't make sense if the common person doesn't understand it. Like obviously there is these tubuities and all, I get it, but it's like the description should be understood by the common man, right? Like there is nothing wrong with the romanticization or anything like that, but it should be come from within. Like if you are saying this, then make sure that you are that person. If you are not that person and that these things are not matching, then it just feels so fake that it's like there is a facade. That's why that brutalism movement is so good, that we'll just be ourselves, true to our nature. And this is how the movement starts, man. It's like, it's interesting that how art and architecture merges and separates. It's just beautiful. Doshi talked about death, and it's worth listening. Let me just play that clip.
The stories became real, and you are actually an illusion. Strange. Are we really an illusion, or are we permanent? Actually, what we think is ourselves, we are absolutely temporary. We don't even think about, nowadays we don't think about death, You go and send the fellow to the hospital inside, and he goes to ICU, and then he says, oh no, he's no more there, finished. Okay, it's all gone. Can I go back to my work? I have a commitment. That's my life. There is no pain. There is no loss. There is no longing. And after 2 hours, we are back to our mobile and doing transactions globally. So, value for money, value for time, value for our sensitivity, value for our thinking, value for our future, value for our past. I think there is nothing left. So how can we expect architecture with value which is inner?
We don't talk about death, we don't talk about silence, and then we will call ourselves designers. And I don't feel like one should tell themselves or identify themselves as designer. It's for other people. But how you define yourself is, you are not just one thing. You're like, yeah, I am designer or architect, I just do this. You are more than that. And everyone is more than that. There is that poetic side, or whatever you say, like that may be rational or whatever, but you are not just one thing. If you haven't watched Dead Poets Society, you should. And this is video kind of derived from that particular scene where the teacher talks about poem, and it's, let me just play that too.
Words and language. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. Now, see that look in Mr. Pitt's eye? Like 19th century literature has nothing to do with going to business school or medical school, right? Maybe. Mr. Hopkins, you may agree with them, thinking, yes, we should simply study our Mr. Pritchard and learn our rhyme and meter and go quietly about the business of achieving other ambitions. I have a little secret for you. Huddle up. Huddle up! We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. And medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love. These are what we stay alive for.
Designing is such a big responsibility. Like, you have to take so many perspectives to design just a simple thing. Like, you have to see it from many angles, and many times it's trial and error. Like, you won't always end up with a good solution. First you have to do some trials and errors. But what interesting is that we should read more books or gather more views or perspectives about the things, or simply how people think and all. But we don't do it. Like, we don't read books in architecture, and that's very kind of a serious thing to notice, that it is not a good habit. I don't say read books about architects or things like that. I say just read books about anything, and fiction, non-fiction, whatever, whatever that interests you. And your mind has that ability that that it can cross connect things, and when cross connection happen, creativity happens, right? We all know this, that it's kind of a merger that no one expected. So the real fight is not letting die that curiosity, I guess. Because when curiosity dies, like, man becomes rigid and their buildings looks faceless, I guess. We are so fixated upon taking actions that we don't even now think, which is kind of not logical, right? One should think about many things. When we were doing urban design, we thought street as how we see it, right? As a grown up, how we see it, and we designed according to that. Like, we have put railing and that all things, but we never thought that how a children would see this, that which is 3 feet high or whatever. So that's the thing, that we have to think about multiple things and have to consider many possibilities, and we are the ones who can't be biased. So the point is that we are the ones who have to think about many possibilities, and we have to correlate to many fields, and for that we have to think a lot, I guess. And that's why we should not be biased for anything. Like, we have to be very neutral about things, and we have to see it from the perspective which you might have never thought of it. And I feel very grateful that from this field, like, we can literally contribute to a bigger purpose. This is very beautiful, and like, it is filled with lots of hardships. Not every time you are very happy with your work and everything, but you anyways do it, and you just have joy of doing things. And with this field we can, and we are doing, like, we genuinely have joy about designs and things and all. Like, we are very much sensitized for art. Like, we just feel the things, we see things differently, and that's what our colleges, or say the school, does to us, and that's very beautiful. Just think of it, that how you were thinking before you joined architecture or any design stream, now how you are seeing things. And just notice that which field allows you to see things differently, and then encourages you to appreciate beauties around you, the art and the poetries and everything like that. And I guess this was it for the video. Take pauses, appreciate beauties, and meet you in another one. Till then,